Hello, everybody. This is
So you like jazz?
Dissonant Waves, episode 20 something, 28, I think.
I've lost track.
I'm Dominic, as always. Riddle and Tricks are here,
CC.
and we got 3 albums to talk about this week. Just 3. No special 4, no 5, no 6. Just 3.
Back to our roots.
We got Huey Lewis and the News, their album Weather. The Strait Band, Don't Waste Your Anger. And what is it? Surf Rock is Dead, The Existential Playboy. Episode 20.
A question for you, Dominic.
Yeah.
Do you like Huey Lewis in the News?
Not really.
See, me personally, I thought their early work was a little too new wave for my taste, but when Sports came out in '83, I think they really came into their own, commercially and artistically. The whole album has a clear, crisp sound and a new sheen of consummate professionalism that really gives the songs a big boost. He's been compared to Elvis Costello, but I think Huey has a far more bitter, cynical sense of humor.
I thought we weren't going to do the...
In '87, Huey released this, 4, their most accomplished album. I think their undisputed masterpieces, Hip to Be Square, a song so catchy, most people probably didn't listen to the lyrics, but they should, because it's not just about the pleasures of conformity and the importance of trends, it's a personal statement about the band itself. Hey Dominic,
Yeah.
why the fuck did you not like Fun in Soho?
Alright, we did the joke.
Oh my god.
We'll talk more about American Psycho some other time.
A
Maybe.
movie I saw when I was like 8 years old.
That's probably a bit too young for that.
Oh yeah.
So I guess we should talk about Huey Lewis and how, despite my hatred of the band, this is maybe, I don't know, the best album I've listened to from them.
And it's not a good album.
It's the only album I've listened to in full by them, and
Yes.
Look, if I went back into their earlier stuff in which they were more popular and actually judged it as a proper product of times, I would enjoy it more. But no, I did not enjoy this, to be honest. It was very boring. These are songs that, I mean, whilst I haven't heard these specific songs before, I may as well have heard these specific songs before.
Yeah, it's just dad rock, and it's not really specific dad rock. It's just, here's some songs.
It's a weird combination of Blue Eyed Soul and fucking a Stevie Ray Vaughan impersonator.
The second listen, I just want to say, on the second listen, I skipped after going halfway through each song because they just didn't change. They just stayed the same.
No, yeah, they don't. I mean, the thing to talk about, why I wanted to bring up this album at all, is that this was not even a finished album. This is just the songs they recorded before Huey Lewis came down with, I think it's called Meniere's disease, which is a disease that really fucks up your ears, and you lose balance, you like lose your hearing. It kind of comes in like episodes where it's like hearing loss, like tinnitus, vertigo, basically.
I'm surprised that this is only their 10th album.
Yeah.
For a band that's been around since 1980.
But the point is that once Huey Lewis figured out that he had the disease, they stopped recording. And from what I understand, this is what they had. And so I guess they sat on it for a little while, and we're like, you know what, we're just going to put it out and see what happens. And this is what happened.
Fair enough.
A mediocre album.
With maybe 2 songs, I can see actually surviving if they bothered to record more. And, you know, with bands like this that are this old who still record, it doesn't seem like they usually like record like a bunch. You know, they don't record 30 songs and then they don't pick the best. They seem to record just less and then go with what they have.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it wouldn't have mattered if they recorded more, but I would like to think so because this album is very mediocre.
I think it's interesting that this has had 2 singles as well, so both released in 2019.
I mean, somebody cares, you know.
But it's like, I mean, it feels weird for an artist like Huey Lewis and the News to still kind of bring out singles, because to me, this is an artist that usually just sells by putting an album out, and then the people who look at it will go, "Oh, I remember Huey Lewis and the News.
Yeah.
I'll go listen to this." So it's like the singles never really mattered too much in that case, which is why it's like interesting that singles were released to this.
Yeah.
Especially if you say it's an unfinished album.
Maybe they're just trying to drum up some kind of hype, you know, like I don't know.
Is Huey Lewis and the News the hottest new indie band?
You know, the thing I will say is that despite his age, despite everything, he can still sing, which is great. He's still good.
Deny that. He still has an alright voice to this. I mean, it's not the greatest of voices I've ever heard in my life, but he still sings as well as he did back in the 80s, so that's something to admire.
Now, the thing I want to know, I don't know, I think I want to know about American Psycho and Bret Easton Ellis and everything, especially the script for the movie. Before he was in Huey Lewis and the News, Huey Lewis was part of the band Clover in the 60s, I think. In the 60s, yeah, 60s, 70s. Clover went on to become Elvis Costello's band for when he began releasing albums. So the connection between Elvis Costello and Huey Lewis is actually very small, or very, direct. So to compare them is very obvious in a sense. So do they know that? Is this just the coincidence, or just it's the same sound, just kind of branched in different ways?
Can I be very honest with you two?
Yeah.
I've never seen American Psycho. I've only read the Wikipedia article and watched that scene.
I have literally only seen it when I was 9 years old, and my mom shut it off because it was too fucking intense for me. So I've only seen like half of it 12 years ago.
I've seen the movie. I read the book. The movie is kind of tame compared to the book.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, is there a
the
scene
rat?
in the book or something? Yeah, with the rat.
There's a scene in the book with a rat, yes. Yeah, the rat goes places.
The places you've been.
Oh, please don't ruin Dr. Seuss.
But
I think Dr. Seuss ruined Dr. Seuss, so fine.
Yeah, fair enough.
I will say though,
his wife killing herself.
In the book, they also go into Genesis and Whitney Houston. Huey Lewis is only one chapter, and it's presented as like an essay, which is interesting. And then they kind of translated that because why wouldn't you? But yeah, Huey Lewis. You said you wanted to say some things with Blue Eyed Soul Tricks.
I just don't like it.
Do you want to explain what it is, just to people who don't know?
It's milquetoast white guys singing soul music.
And
like Michael Bublé, which fuck Michael Bublé.
So do you not think that Huey Lewis has a good soulful voice?
He does have he's definitely in the better of them, but it doesn't fit him. I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a interesting irony where he has one song that's a cover of a Eugene Church song, "Pretty Girls Everywhere," and then the next song is literally about wanting to be in a Dixieland band.
Yeah.
Like, I want to appropriate music from other cultures, but then I also want to be part of the South, maybe one of the boys, one of them good old boys. There's some mixed messaging there, I think.
So I'm reading just like the American Psycho like controversy just on the page, and it is it's quite interesting. It goes from how like it got banned in a bunch of countries or heavily restricted because of how violent it was. But what's a good one that I was reading right here? Yeah, there were people talking. Here we go. Before its publication, Roger Rosenblatt of the New York Times approved of Simon & Schuster, or how would pronounce that name, canceling the worthless book in a review called "Snuff This Book, Will Bret Easton Ellis Get Away with Murder?"
Bret Easton Ellis is also a very interesting and controversial writer. Famously coming out officially as gay in an apology to Catherine Bigelow because he insulted her on Twitter.
Huh.
Yeah, because the true way to get away with controversy is to announce that you're gay. Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, it kind of has that feel, but like 10 years beforehand, you know? So it's like simultaneously less dramatic, but also still kind of shitty.
Oh shit! And he has a podcast. Now he's always forgiven. That's all it takes on this podcast.
Yeah, Joe Rogan, terrible person. He's got a podcast.
Pretty much.
I mean, we could go into Bret Easton Ellis and his obsession with being an apolitical writer who likes to write about politics, and you know, American Psycho being based partially on Donald Trump in a sense, but
I didn't know that.
oh yeah, you know, he's parodying 80s business culture pretty much, and from what I understand, a lot of it's kind of based on people like Trump.
We should probably read
Huey Lewis in a news album though, just before we forget. Actually, maybe not. This album's pretty boring. Not gonna lie.
I mean,
this
like,
is more interesting than the album.
Yeah,
like the first song is okay.
not
Yeah.
really. I'm gonna disagree with that. While We're Young was, whilst it's probably still the best song off the album, still pretty boring.
Yeah.
It, like, you know, I kind of like when they bring in the horn section. You know, I'm a fan of that kind of thing. I don't know.
You think that everything with horns is ska, though?
I specifically didn't say ska because they predate ska.
Look, I think this is better than the Love album just because it's shorter.
And it's not as, like, you know, insulting as Love.
Well, it's not as pretentious. I'll give that this album knows what it is. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an album that's just supposed to sell to people who remember Huey Lewis in the news from back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, they want to hear songs
But
that remind me why I love you
But it doesn't
again.
try to be anything else than that. It kind of seems to admit that it's that. I give it points for that. It's still bad, but I give it points for that.
You know, you wanted me to not pick a pop album this time, and I didn't pick a pop album. I picked a pop rock album.
Really call this pop rock that much though.
Rock? Dad rock?
Dad rock.
How did Trix put it again?
Blue-eyed soul and a Stevie Ray Vaughan impersonator.
Yeah, I think that's the closest.
I don't know why my...
I don't know. I don't like this album. That's just as simple as it can say. I will probably forget it quite quickly, actually, because it's not really a memorable album either.
It is not, no.
It's not like I felt personally insulted by this. Its short runtime really helps it.
Have I picked a good 2020 album at all?
Nope.
I'm looking back.
Yeah, I'm going through them out. Last one, not pretty. We've only done pre-2020, haven't we?
4. This is 4.
Four
No,
was,
I did Weekend Run Club.
Yeah,
you
Weekend
did
Run
Weekend
Club
Run
0. Yeah.
Yeah, so that everything's
is-
forgiven.
That redeemed you.
Yeah, let's. We're gonna go through all the yearly ones and all the ones that you picked. So
Even
the first
2019,
one,
even 2019.
yep, that's what I'm going back to. The first 2019 one that we did was
LSD.
yeah, LSD, pile of shit.
Number 2 was Thelma Plum.
Which wasn't a pile of shit. That was.
That was
I
alright.
still have my faults. I have my faults. The Better in Black, but it's a good album.
I still don't know that ever released in America.
Really, that is interesting.
Or like on Spotify or anything. I forget how I listened to it.
I think no, it wasn't Spotify. It just didn't release overseas.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's on Spotify, but not on like iTunes or anything.
Yeah.
Then,
Low Roar. That was bad.
This is more memorable than Low Roar, which is saying a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd agree with that.
I'm not gonna say it's
'Cause
better than Low Roar, but it's more memorable.
I'm saying it's more memorable just because I can't remember a single fucking thing off Low Roar. Yeah, Weekend Run Club, good one. And then the one after that was LEX, which not really.
Which I
That
kind of
one,
liked.
I'm average.
Like it's in my top 3 best picks of the modern day stuff.
I mean, I'm assuming your 1, 2, 3 would be Weekend Run Club. I don't know what number 2 actually is.
Thelma Plum.
I thought we were just sticking with 2020.
I mean, if we're just taking 2020, I mean, I'm gonna include BTS in that then, because we did that spectacular about Map of the Soul. Because I don't want to pick WoW or, you know, anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Have we really even got much to say about the Huey Lewis one? I'm kind of already sick of talking about it.
Yeah, it's again, Blue-Eyed Soul and Texas Heat had a shitty baby together. It's kind of.
I mean, it's also harder to talk about and find new 2020 albums when everything's getting fucked.
Yep.
I mean, there's still stuff to talk about. We can find more. There's gonna be good ones. It's just I didn't pick them.
And let's quickly go into our favorites and least favorites here, in which I'm just gonna say I have no favorite. Nothing out here made me go, yes, I like this song.
I'm gonna say the same thing.
And least favorite, probably I Am There For You.
Yeah. The generic titles really don't help anything.
Yeah, I know. They're all pretty much the same, so like it could be any song, but no. I feel like I Am There For You kind of just sucked the most.
Even the cover doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Trix, since you kind of went already, what's your least favorite?
Least favorite is I got One of the Boys. It's just so out of place on the album. Because it's the only song that doesn't fit into the Blue-Eyed Soul, fucking Texas Heat thing I'm saying. Because it's just a bluegrass song.
Well, you said it was like what I was talking about last week with why don't more bands do the Jelly of the Month thing. Yeah. But this is not that.
But it's not a good version of it.
Also not very expansive.
No. It's 3 genres.
Yeah. The only 2 songs that really stand out to me are While We're Young and Remind Me Why I Love You Again. And that only say that because I remember them. Everything else, I mean, like, my least favorite is probably Pretty Girls Everywhere because as a gay man, that doesn't really track for me.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Also, it's a cover of a Eugene Church song, and it doesn't do anything. I don't get it. Like, why would you even bother? If you're gonna cover 50s music, like, make it mean something.
And with that, let's go into the album, which I think was alright, but did not hold up on
no, it did not.
On more listens. Yep, Surf Rock Is Dead.
That was my, like, the first time around, I was like, yo, this might be my favorite of the week. And then I listened to it again, and I was like, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't hate this album, but I do think it has a lot of flaws, specifically towards the end.
Yeah, I like the sound. I like what they're doing. But
I mean, like, say if you brought out a Petite League versus a Surf Rock Is Dead, I would just be picking Petite League.
Oh, absolutely. Petite League has
yeah, absolutely.
style and grace and a lot of ideas. It's not all the same sound.
I think we got a bit of a spectrum here as well. We got, like, we'll say on one end we've got Petite League, and on the other end we've got Hockey Dad, or like a Hockey Dad / Wunderbar, because they're kind of in the same style there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we covered Wunderbar. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I feel like this is closer to the Petite League side, but it's still kind of in the middle.
It's in the middle for sure.
But I also feel like it doesn't grab everything that's great about both sides. It definitely grabs stuff that is great from both sides, but not everything. It also grabs a couple of the flaws from both sides as well.
Like, I started listening to Rips One to the Night again this week, and like I would rather listen to that than this.
Oh, easily. That's Petite League's best album, if you ask me.
I think songs like Our Time and stuff were
Our Time was
right songs.
Yeah. Like, Solid Ties was solid.
I'm trying to remember which ones are I don't know, I feel like both these albums that we've covered so far also have the problem with nothing really stood out.
No. Like songs
yeah,
go on.
It's kind of an album you just put on.
like songs like Immaculate did not track well with me, and like and once you get to like Another World, it's kind of like, all right, I get it, I get the sound, I get what you're doing. And then when they get to Always Learning What Not to Do at the end, it's like the acoustic thing. It's like, all right, I appreciate that. They did something a little different, but like it kind of the same problem as Huey Lewis, where it's a lot of the same sound, or not really, but like it's just nothing super exciting, so it all kind of blends together.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something that this definitely does better than most of the albums did this week. This album art is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's because Lorenzo did it.
Good on Lorenzo, that's a great album art.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
it.
The interesting thing to talk about really is that they are the embodiment of us, which, if that's the quality of their music, who knows what that means for us.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree. Like, if we go back to my kind of analogy here, I mean, as we said, this is well, I haven't said, sorry, as we found out, this is half Australian, half American.
No, not even that. It's half Australian, half like one guy's from Chicago, one guy's from Melbourne, and they live in New York.
And if you go into me and Trix's kind of more surf rock taste, Trix is more the petite league side, where I'm more the hockey dad side. It's not that we don't hate the other one or that, but if we go into which ones we prefer.
Right.
Yeah.
And then this is kind of like that blend of it. Anyway, that's how we get full circle here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to cough because it was awkward.
There's not really much to say about this one either, unfortunately. It's kind of like fine, but not super great.
Yeah.
Is there an album, like a movie that we can compare this band to cover up 20 minutes?
I saw The Curious Case of Benjamin Button today. You want to talk about that?
Did he die at the end?
Oh yeah, he died as a baby.
Oh, then Benjamin Button is dead.
I've never actually seen that movie, so he's just born as an old man.
He born an old man, dies as a
Creepy
baby.
old man.
Yeah. And then, his love, she ages normally. So when she's an old woman, she's, caring for him as a baby.
That's fucking creepy. I'm sorry.
They kind of just found a way to romanticize pedophilia at the end, didn't they?
I mean, is that better or worse than when he's an old man child and she's like 12?
Oh, God.
It's around just as bad, actually.
Yeah.
But it's okay because they're almost the same age. In real life, like, for real, but like not,
This is the same.
I get that part. I get the legal workarounds that they managed to do, but it still seems like they're kind of romanticizing pedophilia here.
This is the same argument as, oh no, she's a 5,000-year-old demon girl.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. And then the funny part is that the whole setup for the story is that, like, she's dying the love, and she's dying in a hospital, and their daughter is reading it to her because she's never met him, really. And so she's finding out all of this as she's reading it. And she's like,
What?
This is my dad? Are you kidding?
I don't like movies. This is actually why I don't like movies. They do these kind of really stupid plot points, which is like, oh, how cool would the story be? But they're supposed to kind of just be a fairy tale that ends after a paragraph, so you don't have to really think about it.
Not to mention, it's literally written by the guy who wrote the screenplay for Forrest Gump, so it's kind of it's the same movie almost. It's just
but Forrest Gump was pretty much just a movie about AIDS.
AIDS and being a boomer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is
Although
just
wait.
Hold on. Just a quick thing here. My girlfriend is very disapproval with that. I'm just gonna quickly enlighten her. Tom Hanks movies are about AIDS. Forrest Gump, Philadelphia.
Name another.
He probably got it in Castaway as well. I don't think he was that healthy with the volleyball.
Oh my God.
Guarantee he had AIDS.
I have two sides now. The first one was, did you know that there was a book sequel to Forrest Gump?
Yes, I did.
Gump and Co., where he goes into fucking space.
They probably didn't want to make that as a sequel. Did you know that originally Forrest Gump was like actually supposed to be more of an idiot savant kind of guy?
Yeah,
and like they were gonna have like John Goodman play him.
I'd pay to see that.
Yeah,
That's a very different movie.
Then again, you put facial hair on me, fatten me up a bit more. I look like John Goodman.
But like, Curious Case of Benjamin Button is just Forrest Gump, except he ages backwards, and it's set like the generation before Forrest Gump.
Oh yeah. Oh, so talking about movies that were supposed to be very different. You remember how Bohemian Rhapsody was supposed to be with Sarah Bastian Cohen? Or Sarah, I can't say his name properly today.
I remember where I was when I read about that.
And apparently, the movie was supposed to have him die halfway through. And what did he die of? AIDS.
It's supposed to be like an unvarnished, like super heavy look at what his life was actually like, where Bohemian Rhapsody is just Hollywood filler.
Yep.
Yeah, like it was supposed to glance on how he, I think it was Princess Diana dressed her in drag and took her to a gay bar. It was like one of the scenes.
And this is just like, oh, when he finally like went into his sexuality, he became really vain and materialistic and kind of bad. So exploring yourself as being bad.
My favorite part of the movie is about how apparently Cream broke up and he did a solo album. And when my dad watched it, he just said, "Hold on, I saw him at the fucking Horden during that time."
Huh.
So yeah, they kind of lied about the whole breakup part of
they needed the
they
dramatic tension because
Live Aid was not a reunion concert for them. They were touring.
Yeah.
As any Hollywood hack will tell you, they need to amp up the drama. They can't just have it be,
It's reality TV.
You remember how the fucking editor got an award for best editing?
And then they have that infamous clip like playing everywhere on like Twitter, where it's just
fucking
like
50 jump cuts in like a minute. Fucking hell.
It's like that scene from Taken 3, but for like a drama.
Yeah, instead of Liam Neeson, eight jumps for
a single climb over a fence.
It's fucking 50 cuts during a fucking lunch scene.
And like they keep jumping back to like whoever's talking, and then they'll just like, if it's been like 5 seconds of them talking, it's like, we need someone's facial reaction. And another, and another, and another, and another, and they'll just be standing there, just like eating fucking food or some shit, with no facial expression whatsoever.
Well, they need to show you that they're responding to it in real time, so they're eating their food, and then they're considering, and then they're responding. Even though in editing 101 they tell you that only focusing on the person when they talk, every time they talk, is TV editing.
Although
Yeah.
I will give credit to Bohemian Rhapsody for one person or a particular group of people. Whoever did the costume design,
Good costume design.
great costume design.
From what I understand, Bohemian Rhapsody just makes Rocket Man look better.
I haven't seen Rocket Man yet.
I haven't either.
But
Dominic, I say this all the time. How gay are you?
I'm
proving it.
I'm a straight gay. What do you want from me?
What is that, a bear?
Yeah, kinda.
Okay. I'm learning more and more each day.
It's a little different because they're femme bears, I'm sure, but sure.
Speaking of gays,
Okay.
my uncle.
Are you trying to
my
tell me
great-uncle,
that Tom Hanks is as Mr. Rogers is not about AIDS?
This is quickly becoming that scene in That's Always Sunny where they talk about power bottoms.
Okay,
That's a great scene.
Since we're on this topic right now, there's a story I need to tell about my great uncle. And
How great was he?
Well, he was gay in the '80s, so.
The Gadies,
Pretty
of
gay.
course.
Yeah, he had he lived with a roommate from Morocco, and
Is those
he
air
had
quotes
all
that I
these-
can't hear?
Oh yeah, those are air quotes you can hear. But the guy was actually from Morocco, Mohammed, and the oh my god they were roommates sort of deal, and so he dies. He has all these like red splotches on his arms and stuff like that, like the typical AIDS stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother and my father don't realize until they see Philadelphia.
Oh my god, are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
They live in New York.
Yeah. Well, central New York, which is...
I mean, like, yeah, but they read the Times, I'm sure.
No, they didn't.
Oh, God.
They lived in a very rural area.
On that note, my mum has a cousin. Doesn't really speak to him anymore for different reasons. But he is gay, and guess what? He has AIDS. That's an actual true story. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But you know, I needed to be aggressive to my girlfriend about that.
My cousin has a cousin who's gay, and I've been compared to him so many times.
You two would just be so good together.
He's also like 20 years older than me.
Ah. Sorry, I just
Again.
romanticized pedophilia.
But, you know, because I'm the other one, so they have to talk about him in my presence every time, even though I met him maybe twice.
Yep.
And then I have a cousin who's bi, but we don't talk about him.
Because bisexual...
No one likes to talk about the bi lads.
No, he's also has a lot of issues that it's just like, what's real, what's not.
On that note, you know we have an album that we should have talked about.
You said you wanted to fill 20 minutes, or filling 20 minutes.
I don't know. I kind of just want to go back to this and just quickly say that. Look, this I feel like the number one is really only going to be the number one this week because the other two just were not really worth it in the end.
Well,
I mean-
I might have some hot takes about Smith Street.
I'm sure both of you do. I don't think it's the greatest album we've listened to in 2020.
No.
I think, in my opinion, it's only going to win by default here.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to go into the whole Will Wagner controversy? Because
Yeah, let's just quickly finish up. Let's quickly finish up. Surf Rock is Dead. My favorite is probably Diabolical first, and my least favorite's I don't know, probably either Another World or Watching the Dead. The album really starts to just like become nothing at that point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna agree with you there. Yeah.
My favorite's probably
Same for me.
my favorite's probably Our Time or Solid Ties, and then Away in Message and Immaculate were songs I did not like, and I thought dragged the album.
I don't know. It feels weird. There's less to talk about this than the Huey Lewis, but I mean,
Here's a question though.
I still enjoyed this over the Huey Lewis.
This is the question though: is surf rock actually dead?
Nah.
Hockey Dad's got a new album out in like a month or so. So
It's like the argument that people make like punk is dead.
music is dead. Music sucks.
TV
Yeah,
killed
why
the
are we even
radio
doing this
star.
Podcast? Let's just. Well, this is now the movie podcast.
Everyone's got a movie podcast, you know. Might as well keep going with it.
All right, so let's go into the Smith Street Band and Will Wagner, and we should probably put in a bit of a content warning for the 5 people that might care about this. There is a huge amount of kind of abuse and depression and suicide kind of talked about on this. So strap yourself in, kids. So
I'll cut that out and put it
it.
at the beginning of the episode or something, maybe, or maybe I
Yeah.
won't.
Probably not. So around late 2018, early 2019, some emails came around, which it wasn't the start of this incident. I'll go back into it kind of here, but it was the kind of big blowout of this incident, and it was emails that Will Wagner had kind of sent. They were a little out of context, but they're still, were sent by Will Wagner to him, by him to a former lover, and I think it was to 2. I couldn't remember who the other one was, but one of them was the lead singer of the feminist punk Aussie band Camp Cope, Georgia MacDonald, who everyone kind of in the circle knew that Will Wagner and Georgia Mac had been dating. One of the also big moments that obviously Georgia Mac had seen, because she had mentioned it, was during a Reddit Ask Me Anything. And there was this kind of... Will Wagner had been asked this question about Georgia Mac's influence on it with their obvious breakup and stuff on the album More Scared of You Than You Are of Me. and he talks about the "Song for You," which is directly targeted at Georgia MacDonald, and he explains how, while she is talented, had hurt him quite a lot, and he's since deleted the post, but you can find the image of that comment pretty much circulating around, which is the kind of first moment of this kind of drama had started, and it turned into something that probably just didn't need to happen. There was this whole Georgia Mac had ended up responding with this whole email, doing this kind of cold call for everybody to cancel Smith Street, for apparently Smith Street to donate all their money to charity to kind of fix it. I don't know how that would help, but it was just put in there. And whilst I think Georgia Mac had some right to kind of respond here, I don't think she did it too well. I think all she did was just instigate more kind of fighting over the internet. And granted, a lot of responses do that, so, you know, can't really give it much critique there. But a huge kind of wave of just cancel Will Wagner came out, and I think he made a post on February 26th or something that he said that, alright, I'm going to respond to this soon, I'm just in a bit of a dark place, and I think on like the 28th or something he kind of talked about it, or it was a bit sooner after that. But interesting enough was the Are You OK post he posted in September 29th, where, when they get the dates mixed up, on February 27th he had claimed that he had tried to kill himself in his backyard, which is obviously because of the whole drama and the whole hatred that was being spewed at him. And, I mean, I personally couldn't imagine having nothing but internet hate fueled at me like that, because I don't want to imagine that.
Right.
And I can understand the position he was on. In the end, looking at this whole kind of drama, my personal belief in it was that they were both abusive pieces of shit to each other.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was really clean here, but I also thought none of them had had physically harmed the other person. I feel like this is something that people could get past on, and most importantly, something that probably should have just been kept private.
The one thing I will say is that it's hard, as somebody who was not familiar with this, to actually look into it because so much has been deleted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's probably for the best, actually.
Like, the couple quotes I found of the emails did not, like, really make it seem as terrible as it probably was, you know?
A lot of the stuff that came out early was pretty vague. This is one of those ones where I think cancel culture got a bit too up in their pants to cancel people. There was never really enough information about this.
Like, I'm sure stuff happened that it was terrible and it sucks.
I'm sure. Look, for so many stories that I've heard about Will Wagner being a piece of shit, I've heard stories about Georgia Mac being a piece of shit. In the end, I don't listen to them because I care. Yeah, pretty much.
Literally, the only thing I've seen.
I'll admit happily, I'm more of a Smith Street Band fan than I am of a Camp Cope fan. I thought Camp Cope's debut was an alright record. I thought their last album kind of sucked. I know some people consider that a hot take and think. I mean, I remember the worst article I saw that album was, "This is an album you're not allowed to criticize," and I thought it was 40 minutes of nothing. She's right. She's got some good politics in there, but that's it. You can't. Just because you got a bass line doesn't mean I'm fucking enjoying the whole thing.
So it's the album you can't criticize, like the movie, like Ghostbusters, the movie you couldn't criticize.
Yeah, pretty much like that. Except I think, whilst Ghostbusters tried to put itself out as a political movie, and that was just shitty vagina jokes or whatever. I didn't watch it.
Oh, you mean Ghostbusters Answer the Call?
Camp Cope's album was at least political in the right ways.
I've never seen the Ghostbusters movie or listened to Camp Cope, so I have nothing to contribute really here.
I knew either, but I just know all the controversy around fucking Ghostbusters.
But the big thing is that Smith Street's last album was quite a lot about Georgia Mac. And I mean, a lot of Georgia Mac's last album was about Will Wagner. Yeah, there was politics in both of them, but they were both definitely about each other. Like, the Camp Cope album was called How to Socialize and How to Make Friends, and that was a reference to Will Wagner's social anxiety. It was a direct attack at it. I liked the song. I thought it was a great song, but there was no doubt it was a direct attack to Will Wagner. There's no doubt that the Song for You was a direct attack to Georgia Mac. And there you go. as a controversy. You had people try to kill themselves. People were abusive piece of shit. I don't know if I consider anyone here on a high rose or properly redeem themselves from it, but I know that I don't really care enough, and the music's still good.
I mean, yeah. Unlike Sticky Fingers, I can't really form much of an opinion because I didn't really see much.
Look, I feel like when it comes to doing a comeback album from a controversy, whilst I still put in my views on Sticky Fingers, there is no doubt that Sticky Fingers' last album did not properly reference their controversy and just phoned it in this whole kind of fake I'm sorry kind of way. Because whilst I think some things were exaggerated, Sticky Fingers obviously still had a lot of problems that they had caused, and their album failed to address it. But yet it still seemed like it attempted to and acted like it successfully did. I feel like this album has more kind of, whilst not really truly addressing the controversy, properly addresses how he felt around the time of the controversy, and better succeeds in trying to explain himself or get past it.
Yeah, like it's the album where it's like you listen to it and you're like, is this guy okay? And the answer is no.
Nah, the dude's obviously still depressed, but I mean that's always been Will Wagner's lyrics. When we do go into More Scared of You Than You Are of Me, which I think is probably the better Smith Street Band album, that one's a lot more about his social anxiety and kind of his depression, and there's a lot of songs in there which I still fucking jam to, like Shine and Birthdays. But let's go into Don't Waste Your Anger with the opening single, God Is Dead. Well, it's not a single, but opening song.
Yeah.
God Is Dead. Reality is fake.
It's an okay opener.
It was alright.
I think God Is Dead is like, as we kind of talked about Very Lonely throughout the week, this album does have a bit of a slow start, but around the end of the world it starts to really kick in.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Like the first few tracks we can talk about, some are better than others. Dirty Water is the worst, but
Yeah.
God Is Dead and I Still Dream About You, I think, are great songs. I think I Still Dream About You is probably the best song of this album.
I disagree, but that's alright.
I think God Is Dead is a great opener. Big Smoke, I don't know why that was the lead single. I think that's actually one of the weaker songs of this album as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Losing It should have been the lead single.
And Dirty Water, I prefer over Big Smoke, but like as an individual track, but on the theme of this album and on how this album sounds, it does not fit.
I just did not like Dirty Water lyrically, like sonically, where it was placed in the album. I didn't like the name of it. I didn't like the images it evoked.
I'm with Dominic on that one.
I didn't like the way he sang it. I didn't like the instrumentation.
So I'm curious to know, what did you not like about I Still Dream About You?
It was alright. It just felt like he was really amping up like the punkiness in a way that felt a little bit forced. I felt.
Yeah.
Like the way he does his punk voice was a little bit.
I mean, yeah, that's Will Wagner's vocal style, so.
But like it didn't sound as natural as it did on other songs. Like other.
If you have I had the context of listening to Smith Street Band since 2014, so, and a lot of Will Wagner's vocals have been like that, so it doesn't sound so forced to me. But I guess if this was the first time I had ever heard it, maybe I might think that.
And like it wasn't a bad song. It wasn't. There are other songs that are worse. It's just like I remember I Still Dream About You. That means something, but
Yeah.
it wasn't one of my favorites.
But I want to point out that like Big Smoke is the more song that's based off a relationship, and I Still Dream About You is about smoking. So.
Yeah, you can flip it around and don't even know the difference.
Well, I mean, I like the lyrics of I Still Dream About You, because like you can actually still figure out from it that it's about smoking. Like the line, you told me nobody had kissed you as much as I had, and that made me feel sad.
I still dream about you.
I mean, that's a line though that like if that was just directly literal, that would be less. But when you kind of start to realize what that's actually referencing, it kind of makes it better. You know, the whole like cigarettes up to the lips, the kind of sadness being the kind of whole getting from withdrawal on this. And I know it's not still the smartest of lyrics or anything like that, but it definitely helps when you know the context of it.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what he's feeling and that's what's real to him, I mean, that's fine. That's what makes sense
And I mean,
to him.
Will Wagner is a lot more of a literal vocalist.
He's a passionate vocalist.
Yeah.
He's a
like
Jeff...
his lyrics are a lot more literal.
Yeah, he's a Jeff Mangum. It just doesn't have the lyricism. Because Jeff Mangum, people debate his vocal quality, but he has passion. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely no doubt that after Dirty Water, this album truly starts to kind of like pick up from the end of. I think from the end of the world to Don't Waste Your Anger is just. I wouldn't call it perfect, but I think it's just great.
Oh yeah,
it's good. Yeah.
Especially the closing track, the title track, I think is an excellent closer to this album. It's you called Dirty Water a pub sing along, which obviously is a hard disagree with that. I think you don't really know what a pub sing along is, because I think Don't Waste Your Anger.
I just picture people.
It's probably the pub sing along of this album.
I just picture people screeching along to "I've been falling out of love with other people."
No, the again, when we get onto the earliest Smith Street Band album, their true pop sing along is "Deaf to the Lads," which is a shout out of "Deaf to the Lads,"
which was hilariously referenced in one of those articles. It was like "Death to the Lads," asterisk, and then something.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, I think they made a music video for the End of the World, so they kind of considered that to be one of the other highlights, I guess.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
They released a live album earlier this year.
Yeah, I bought it.
How was that compared to this and general comparisons?
I haven't fully listened to it in full, but I've listened to a couple snippets from it. It was interesting because that was kind of like they released that album way before they released a single for "I Still Dream About You," and that's on the live album. Which the live album is not on Spotify or anything. I believe it's only on their Bandcamp, and it was done for fuck, I'm gonna go find it. It was either done for bushfire relief or corona relief. I believe it was for corona. Let's see.
It was March, so
Yep.
I would imagine bushfire, but
No, it's
No,
for
March,
corona.
March was Corona. January and February was bushfire.
But the more important part is the date that this live album was recorded on, and that was the 22nd of September 2019.
is that when the fire started or something?
Nope.
What happened on the 22nd of September?
Well, that would have been right after the "Are You Okay?"
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Plus, that was before some of these singles had been released. Like Big Smoke was not released then, or "I Still Dream About You" hadn't been released by then either. So these are still songs that were kind of just like working. Like he would have still been working on, because again, this didn't get released until last month. The singles both got released this year. They weren't released in December or anything, so that's quite a couple of months that they're holding on to them.
Yeah, he had some kind of. It says they had like a single that was released last year, but it wasn't related to the album at all.
Yeah, "Chips and Gravy" and "I Am Nothing."
In the YouTube chronology, "I Still Dream About You" is before "I Am Nothing," Chips and Gravy.
Let me check that out.
It says 2019.
Maybe
That sounds like
they uploaded it then and then didn't unlist it until later. Or
This is YouTube.
Yeah, well, I Still Dream About You didn't get released until this year. So that is interesting.
conspiracy.
Conspiracy.
But looks like they've been doing all right on the ARIA charts. Don't Waste Your Anger peaked at number
I
one.
believe they got their first number one.
The live album got number 4, which is pretty good.
Yeah, for something that only got released on Bandcamp, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely incredible. Because I mean, we had a couple artists do that whole kind of release a live album for Corona or Bushfire relief. King Gizzard did that quite a bit.
Yeah. They did
Yeah,
one
they
for
had,
both,
like,
I think, didn't they?
They did what?
Then they did one for
One
both,
for
or was
both.
it just the one for
They put out one earlier, but that was like one this year, but that wasn't for relief. That was for something else that they did.
Mm.
Although they do have a song called Quarantine Oven. Never know. But no, the ones that King Gizzard released on Bandcamp were all for Bushfire. So going back onto Smith Street Band, Dominic? What would you say is your favorite off this?
Oh, probably Losing It. Or Heaven 11.
Remember those ones?
What was that?
Yeah, so Losing It.
Go on.
Losing It actually has a bit of similarity to Dirty Water, or in the way that it kind of starts in that slow thing, but it really starts to become different as it goes on.
Yeah,
it really builds up.
That's when I liked when it started building up. And it got more emotional and like more emotionally resonant versus Dirty Water.
And that's kind of the same with Heaven 11 as well at the start. And I mean, there is quite a lot of build-ups in this record. I think the best one is off the title track, when it comes into that call, or like the shout out of "Don't waste your anger."
That was pretty good too, and I also like the bit at the end. It's all acoustic, like.
Yeah.
And Trix, what would you say has been your favorites?
Favorites are. Let me pull it up again.
Or at least just the ones I was talking about.
Yeah, End of the World is where the album really changed and grabbed it for me, so I'll probably say that. And right, and Dirty Water
I would
was
agree.
favorite.
Definitely with the End of the World being one of the big highlights. I think it would only just barely be top 3, but I think that's just because I like I Still Dream About You and Don't Waste Your Anger, just probably that little bit more. I don't know, I think as far as outros go for this year, this has been one of the best closing songs.
Yeah.
So you say they're associated with Violent Soho.
Yeah, well, unfortunately I didn't get to see it because it was the day before, but the first time I saw Violent Soho, during that poster I actually posted onto this Discord a while ago, they had so many goddamn scalpers and stuff and selling, and they ended up scheduling another show for the day before that, which I unfortunately didn't get to go. But when Violent Soho did their song In the Aisle, I think it was, they got Will Wagner out to sing it.
Oh, wow.
So they've been kind of contemporaries for a while. I mean, they're kind of in the same vein of style.
I would disagree.
I guess Smith Street's probably a bit more personal.
Smith Street's more personal and more original.
You can still see the influences.
Yeah,
the
but
Smith Street Band have had,
but it's
I
not...
mean, it also helps that Smith Street Band have had a more recognized punk producer. I don't know if this one was, but they usually have their albums produced by Jeff Rosenstock.
Yeah, he does a lot with them. But I mean, my problem with Violent Soho is that I listen to it and it's like a lot of it's just grunge, 90s grunge. It's just in the 90s. And this is something that's not just the 90s. This is something that stands on its own.
Goodbye, Trix. Trix has just left the chat.
Oh, hello again, Trix.
Trix is now back in the chat.
Trix is typing a message.
Trix is no longer typing a message.
I'm back.
Hello.
Switching headsets.
My phone died.
Hey, it's the first time for everything.
Yeah. Well, luckily my phone boots in like 20 seconds. But...
Luckily, I'm recording this episode, not you.
Well, Craig would have still been going.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I've quit and rejoined before.
Oh,
I
I
could
guess.
be wrong. Hold on. I'm just gonna check this. Have they ever been on the same tour? Yes. Many times.
Smith Street and Violent Soho.
Yeah, Violent Soho with special guests, the Smith Street Band. Which would be no surprise because Violent Soho, or one, are more popular in this country than the Smith Street Band are, and two, got popular before Smith Street Band did.
Well, people can be wrong. And I
Just
guess
like you are all the time.
I'm wrong a lot, people will think, so that's alright. I understand. Quick shout out to their other names, Will Wagner and the Smith Street Band, as well as Lee Hartney Sex Drive.
Yeah, that was the early one when Smith Street Band was a lot more like
Bruce Springsteen influence.
Smith Street Band started out being a little less Will Wagner focused, but now it's kind of gone back to it.
I think as an aside, I think I figured out why all of the shit I'm getting for the Smith Street Band is released in 2019 is because of the Live at Laneway.
Ah. Yeah, that would make sense.
Uploaded in February of 2019.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Plus, Will Wagner also has quite a lot of solo stuff, has appeared on a couple of kind of extra things, like there's a series EP called Stretch Your Skin, which he appeared on the title track, which is one of the series' best songs in my opinion. And also a Joelistics, which is kind of interesting, so I guess that's a hip-hop thing.
And by virtue of being associated with Jeff Rosenstock, he's also associated with his group Bomb the Music Industry.
Yep. So, I mean, I think Violent Soho and the Smith Street Band kind of had the same a bit of originality. I think it's just that the influences that Smith Street Band have are a lot more closer to that kind of underground American punk scene that's happening right now with, again, stuff like Jeff Rosenstock. That it's probably a bit more your style that you think it's a bit more original, but I think they have the same amount of originality. I mean, you go back into Violent Soho, yes, they have an obvious grunge influence, but I think that there's also a lot of songs. Yes, there are definitely some songs that Violent Soho have that you can directly say that's the specific songs that it remembers, and it reminds you of, specifically Evergreen and Everlong.
I mean,
but I think there's also a lot of other Violent Soho songs in which it sounds similar to something you have, but there is still quite a bit of originality to it.
I mean, if anything, Smith Street Band mostly reminds me of folk punk.
Well, that's because,
But like,
they definitely have a lot more folk punk influence. I mean, you listen to the song Young Drunk, that's 100% a folk punk song.
like it just makes me think of Front Bottoms. That's just one band versus a whole genre, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they do have the same amount of originality in their respective genres, and I just like one over the other. That might be just what it is.
I think that's probably, I mean, grunge is a pretty specific style, but a lot of stuff does sound a lot more too inspired. I guess that's why the scene never really lasted as long as it did.
I mean, you got some good bands out of it, so
Yeah.
there's always a good side to that.
Never forget Silverchair. They lasted probably one of the longest. And then they put out a pop album to end it.
You gotta fill that contract somehow.
It's a surprisingly good pop album. Anyway,
That's about it.
I think this is the best album
Oh, easily.
of the week, easily. But I still agree there are some flaws with this record, especially around the start. But when it starts to pick up, those flaws do start to get a bit more forgiven on the newer songs because the things that make them great are more prevalent.
Completely agree. 1, 2, 3. Number 1 is Smith Street Band. Number 2 is Surf Rock is Dead. Number 3 is Huey Lewis.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Best song, by the way, of Don't Waste Your Anger, I think, is probably I Still Dream About You, and I'll agree, least favorite's probably Dirty Water.
I'll agree with that. I mean, I don't agree with it being I Still Dream About You, but if you want to recommend that song over everything, that's fine.
I like it. I mean, granted, it's probably the single, and probably because I've had the most listens to it. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually over the year it gets changed by Don't Waste Your Anger, because I think that's also a very strong highlight. Or even The End of the World, but...
Tricks?
For me, I think I'm gonna swap the Surf Rock is Dead and Smith Street Band from your orders. Just because I feel like I'd listen to Surf Rock is Dead a little bit more, just put it on in the background to listen to.
Yeah, but which one do you think is better?
Surf Rock is Dead.
Alright.
You've conned me out of a number one, just like I con you.
Yeah.
You come close.
Well, that's fine, because next week well, I guess in 2 weeks, because next week technically, isn't it? It's about to become way more competitive.
Oh yeah, for the people listening, next week won't matter to you because you'll have a new episode. But for us, we're going to be making our own EPs. Yay!
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone's got titles out for them, but I do.
I don't have my titles out, but you will see them eventually.
Yeah. We're actually gonna be releasing them on Spotify.
Yeah, that's going to be wild.
And they will be out probably by the time this episode is, so... You know.
Yeah. Go download our things.
Yeah, this should hopefully... What are we getting at? We gotta get them on Bandcamp as well, or...?
Sure, why not?
Oh yeah, well, you guys would have to handle your own Bandcamps, but...
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll make a Bandcamp, whatever.
Can you even make a Bandcamp for a spoken word album?
Why not?
Why not? It's an EP.
Fair enough.
But yeah, this is gonna be probably one of the funnest quarantine experiments that we've done.
Yeah.
Thankfully we didn't start this in quarantine, otherwise we'd be posers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've all set the kind of task of creating an EP. Just gonna quickly go through some of the summaries of the rules that are kind of more important here.
Yeah.
So each one of them had to be around at least 10 minutes long. If the kind of hard maximum of 30 minutes. We didn't really want everything to go too long, but well, not a hard maximum of 30 minutes, like a soft maximum. And pretty much everything had to be created since the 7th of May till next week our time, which is the 31st. So that's what, 3.5 weeks to create fucking EPs.
Yeah, 10 minutes of music.
Yeah, whatever you want to make.
Dominic's case.
Yep. I think Dominic might have the longest EP.
We'll see. I don't know yet. I have not timed it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty easy to time out. You just check how long it is.
He hasn't
all the
finished
files.
editing yet.
Yeah.
I did a lot of recording, so...
Yeah, this is going to be the most interesting episode that we've done.
And after that is our all-star episode. So that'll be fun to explain that. You'll hear about that soon.
Yep.
Till then, I have been Ritalin. You can catch me at my website, ritalinforkids.github.io. I don't know if I've sounded worse this episode. I kind of feel like I have, because I feel like I got something in my throat. I also have a YouTube channel. I'll be posting the EP down there. It'll be in the description below. Hopefully my Bandcamp and shit now will be as well.
Yeah, I've been Dominic. You can catch me on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. I sometimes write things for tiltingwindowstudios.com, and we'll have links up for wherever these EPs go. So buy our EPs, I guess.
Yeah. Oh man, I've been Tricks. You can catch me at Procrastinaut. That's procrastinating ass with an underscore at the end of it. I also have a YouTube channel that I've been trying to figure out a way to fucking rename it, or what I want to rename it to. And also follow us on Twitter at Dissonant Waves on Twitter, and visit our website dissonantwaves.space.
You got to put some links to our whatever links and Dissonant Waves that space. We got to do that.
I still need to fuck around with Dissonant Waves that space.
All right, that's gonna do it for us. We'll see you next week.
Oh yeah.
Goodbye.